The young people, they speak their mind. So that's why I was mentioning that it would be great if you could meet some students as well.
The young ones started speaking up and saying, it's not great, we're suffering.
Reading up on education, health, and inclusion as well, and I was Millennium Development Goals, and within the goals, I definitely saw a lot of things working out when it comes to young children as well, and when it comes to education as well. Anything you want to mention on that?
So it is. It's a full spectrum thing. Education and young people. The British government has a kind of messianic focus on growth right now. It's what we need for our country, and we think it's what we should deliver elsewhere. But growth is not just sort of dry economic growth and productivity. I think it is also very much about human capital. And Nepal needs just as much effort on the human capital side as it does on the FDI. We work right across that spectrum. Some of it is money that goes straight to the Ministry of Education. We have a very long and deep collaboration with them. I was seeing the Minister of Education last week.
She's amazing.
She's very switched on. And we want her to come to our Education World Forum in May. I'm very hopeful of that. Another amazing person is our education advisor, Shivani, who we sent on a professional networking trip to the UK, and she came back with hot tips for two other, we call them centrally managed programs, but they will be additional to our bilateral funds. So we do that sort of investment in primary and secondary education. The British Council that we work very closely with do a lot working with teachers around the professional development of teachers and kind of linking education institutions in the UK and in Nepal. Obviously, they do all the culture piece as well. But then, and this ties in with your interest in our UK-Nepal Business Forum on Tuesday, I am very, very hard over about what we call transnational education, because to me it seems a perfect fit between supply and demand. It's what Nepal really needs, and it's what we have lots of to offer. So outside the public education sphere, there can be, and are institutions here in Nepal which are conduits for British education, quality controlled by the mothership, by the British university or college, but delivered locally at basically local prices. And this is the key, right? If we can keep the kids in the country to get the education they want here and that they deserve here, then that's going to be a big piece of the answer. So on Tuesday, I was really banging the drum for transnational education.
That's great. And I just wanted to touch base on something that I read this morning. Go back and show us the picture of our education minister and His Excellency as well. She mentioned, I was reading up on this. I just want to use this platform to share something that I was very happy to go ahead and read this in the morning. She was mentioning that internship should be also, if we can open internship within the government as well, so that kids would come in and intern within the government. That's so great to hear, because not just other institutions. If the kids can go and intern within the government, they're going to know the ins and outs of it and maybe be interested to go ahead and join service within the government. So when I read that in the morning, this morning, I was like, wow. That's proactive. That's looking forward, and that's trying to get the Gen Zs. And I don't know, what's the next generation after that? Alpha? Gen Alpha? I can't keep up with it.
I don't even qualify as a generation. I'm pre-alphabet. But yeah, so, I mean, just a couple of things on this. The minister and I really kind of had a meeting of minds on a subject I don't think either of us intended to discuss at this meeting, which was pastoral care for Nepali students in the UK. Uh-huh. Because we both know that some of these kids travel abroad. I mean, it's not just the UK, obviously.
All around the world.
Not even primarily the UK, but I care about those in the UK. And they carry such a weight of expectations on their shoulders. You know, often the family's taken a terrible loan, or they've sold land, or, you know, I can just imagine what a...
You're aware of this.
Yeah, and it's a horrible burden. And, of course, that's an impressionable age. You're already rather prone to mood swings at that age. And I did this in Brunei. When I was in Brunei, I had a similar concern. Although Bruneians, you know, it's a petrodollar country. The kids were not short of money, but they could get very lonely nonetheless. And we had a brilliant, rather simple scheme to invite them to send us 2-minute videos with their smartphones about their life on campus. And immediately, you know, we were inundated with not just little movies, but good little movies, often very witty, but then sometimes sad. And suddenly we knew, you know, someone was feeling quite alienated, and we could do something about it. And I think we're going to do something similar. I'm talking to the British Council. Okay. You know, I feel a duty to have a system in place that means that Nepali students in the UK don't fall through the net. And frankly, in my position, if I find a university that's failing its Nepali students, then I can talk to the Vice-Chancellor and say, come on, you know, you need to improve. So, and it was fascinating that it was on the mind of the minister as well. So maybe we'll do something there. And maybe she talked about it as being like a pilot project.
Yeah, and you get started with it and see as you go along, you pivot and you change and you take it forward. Since we are in this in this topic, you're meeting the diaspora on the 27th. Will you be meeting any students if that comes to play? I
would love to have students there. This is in the hands of Chandra Gamire, the ambassador. I've just said he's new, so really, you know, whatever he can do in the time available. But this is the start of something, because, you know, on Tuesday we had this forum. I feel that it has energized the business promotion, trade promotion structures at both ends of this relationship. Certainly at the UK end, there's been a sense of people kind of coming out from under COVID quite slowly. So there are personnel, there are individuals, but also maybe passing on the baton to new people interested in trading with Nepal. I will meet whoever Chandra points me at, but I will definitely try to bring them a sense of the energy we had on Tuesday at the Marriott Hotel.
The young people, they speak their mind, so that's why I was mentioning that. It would be great if you could meet some students as well and hear directly from them as well. How is everything going?
I have an example from Madhesh. We were in Madhesh talking to the provincial government about our Nepal in Business program, which is there to support SMEs and, as they say, democratize access to capital. And one of the sessions we had was with the FNCCI and the CNI and then the young entrepreneurs, all in the same room. And the older generation were just too polite. You know, they really were telling me that it was all fine.
Everything's going
Everything's great here, you know, nothing to see. But the young ones started speaking up and saying, you know, it's not great. You know, we're suffering, and the older ones say, "Oh, the ambassador doesn't want to hear that." You know, shh. And I said, actually, I need to hear this. The program I'm bringing is designed to meet needs, right? It needs to understand what the obstacles are, and I think having young people at the table is vital.
And I'm glad that you're talking about this, because if my kids need some help and need some support and need some guidance in the UK, then you'd be the perfect person to go ahead and help them as well as the kids who are thinking of going now. You know,
sure, and I would like the kids who are thinking of going. I'm glad they're thinking of going to the UK. But if they don't have the resources to do that sensibly, I want them to have the next best thing, and in some respects, a better thing, which is a UK standard education in Nepal.
In Nepal.
And then I want, to get really kind of visionary for a second. Some people talk in this way, and there's no reason not to. Nepal could be a hub for education in South Asia. It is right next to the two biggest markets in the world. It's a lovely place to live, and it's crazy that the kids are leaving. Right, this is where other kids would love to come and study if they had the courses that they wanted to follow. So, in the very long run, I think Nepal has a vocation as an education platform. But right now, we just need to stop the exodus.
Within this is something slightly different. Within the diplomatic community, you meet everybody, all the other diplomats within the country.
Try to.
The conversation's there, right? Everybody's aware that definitely the kids are leaving, and a lot of kids definitely want to go abroad. Education, migration, this is going on. It's well aware within the diplomatic community, right?
Well, our own staff want to send their kids abroad, so it's a problem, and I don't criticize the parents. It's noble. I think you want the best thing for your children, but I do want them to have a local option, and I mean that's why I say we work across the whole spectrum. We work in the public sector. We definitely want to do more on transnational education and with the private sector, and most importantly, we want to generate the jobs that will keep them in the country. And that's what our Nepal in Business program is supposed to do.
तपाईले हाम्रो क्लिप एकदमै एन्जॉय गर्नुभयो होला अब पुरै भिडियो हेर्नको लागि चाहिँ YouTube मा सब्स्क्राइब गर्न नबिर्सिनु होला व्यास मिडिया नेटवर्क